This is a story about a boy and a girl. It's not really about the spectacle or the action. It's about Amos and Felicity, their journey.
I want to help people. I want to make things better.
You already make everything better.
Secret Level is an anthology series based on multiple game IPs. Our episode is based on The Outer Worlds.
So it all started when Greg and Tim Miller reached out about this project called Secret Level.
Blur's been around for about 30 years now. And working with game companies is really great. It's a very creative industry. People would ask us to help them tell their stories, and we could be really inventive. So we really just dove deeper and deeper into that industry, and then over time we built trust as people that could do more than just execute pretty pictures. We could help them tell stories and come up with new ways to innovate. Secret Level is one of those things that I think most gamers can relate to. You get that little thrill when you find something that nobody else has found yet. So we wanted our show to feel like that. We wanted to feel like it was for the fans and it was for the industry. And even though there's a lot of fans and it's a big industry, it still feels kind of special and unique to be part of that community, you know?
Putting the team together for this project was actually pretty easy. With Bengt Anton's love for storytelling and Sini and Gianni's vast experience of long-format animation, this team was a given.
It's a heartbreaking tale about a boy who is so loyal to the company he works for and the girl that he's in love with that he sort of loses everything he is. The biggest challenge for me was going to be to get the tone right from the Outer Worlds universe. It has a very specific humor and wit to it, and that just had to be right. And I've been a huge fan as well, so for me that was really important. Another thing was to condense the whole story into a 15-minute narrative.
For this project, I knew it was important that we really nailed the story. We built this team to take our script, really imagine that script in 3D and shoot it like we were shooting live action. And it allowed us to really play with various beats of the show and find the real heart and soul of the script. The previs ended up being really close to the final episode, almost shot for shot, acted as a really nice blueprint for us going into the shoot. I think the biggest challenge with building this world had to be the fact that this is a period piece set in a retro sci-fi world.
Go be everything you need to be.
That wasn't something that we necessarily knew we could accomplish from the outset.
Here, try this.
Oh, that feels better already.
Really? Because I made it myself.
What? That's wonderful. You're wonderful.
Our episode is a story about thinking you want something so bad that you lose who you are. Blur sent over this short story by Shaban Carroll. When I first read the script, it felt very personal to me. There's a lot of layers to the story. Amos is loyal to the corporation that he slaves away for. And he's loyal to a girl that never saw him the way he saw her. She just wants to achieve something with her life. She wants to get out of the gutter and the orphanage, and along the way she gets corrupted.
I'm going to be Auntie Cleo.
Being Felicity was enough for me.
Going into this, I knew the challenge was going to be to get the tone of the Outer Worlds universe into this story. The sincerity of it, the dry wit, humor.
For this project, I knew it was important that we really nailed the story. So I sought a narrative editor and a talented 3D story team.
The story was clearly very demanding technically to be produced. So having a good roadmap that could be followed during the mock-up shoot and later down in production was really, really essential. Step one, you of course have to brainstorm what's on the page. You need to understand the story, and that's when you start to design choreography, the placement of the characters. That's when you start to think about the performance, figure out the location, the camera moves, and you start picking lenses. What is the best lens to shoot this particular shot? So striking that perfect balance was very, very critical.
Yeah, says here the lead scientist is one Dr. Felicity Carroll.
Me and my editor, Nils Moström, would receive these really crazy scenes from the 3D story team, and we would have this roundtable discussions around what works, and along the way we developed this visual language. Things get so rigid down the line when you work with CG animation. Having that creative room where everything was possible still was really important to me. In the end, we had our 15-minute episode way before we would go in to shoot anything. It was a really tricky casting process. Really close to the shoot, we finally got all our cast.
Hey, colleagues!
So to get Brannock O'Connor to play Amos, then Raffi Cassidy was amazing. Brannock. He had that really sort of rose-tinted look on the world, but he also had the capacity to carry something dark within him.
What's your biggest fear?
To live a meaningless life and then die alone.
Oh.
Raffi was perfect for Felicity. There's a sort of solemnness, melancholy tone to her performance.
I want to do more. Get off planet and go where they invent stuff.
And it fits so well with Brannock's sort of overly naive character. And she's somewhere else. She's on a sort of different stratosphere. I really wanted that contrast.
Amos! Amos! They're making me an apprentice scientist! I'm going to work for any clue on Numa.
The moment when we watched Brannock and where Raffi is telling Brannock how she is gonna leave again.
I'm so pleased I got to see you one last time.
What? One last time?
It broke my heart, because at that moment his heart broke. And yeah, that was just goosebumps all around.
Goodbye Kansas is known to create ultra-real humans, and that's also why I wanted to go ultra-real, and we scanned our actors. It's all right there. The performance capture is the base for everything.
We were all so blown away. I asked if it was okay to sneak a viewing to Raffi. She just responded back to me. She couldn't tell that the one on the left was actually CG and the one on the right was her.
Day one. Yeah, exciting. We're starting with the first scene of Amos picking up scrap in the scrapyard.
Actors are actors, and all the actors that never done mocap before and come to a mocap shoot are really happy about the process because it's so freeing for them. It's basically like a theater stage. I knew for this show that I wanted a very specific sort of old cinema look to things. You can't really do that when you don't know where the camera is.
There was an on-set director of photography. His name is Simon Olsen. We wanted to have somebody like Simon to work with our actors. I think it really helps them to know that they're performing to a camera.
It's like a dance, right? You want the actors to influence what the camera does, and you want the camera to influence what the actor does. And then you get that really beautiful cinematic dance that you feel instinctively is like cinema.
Of deceiving your supervisors.
Oh, I won't. I can't lie.
Really?
Felicity?
So that last scene between Amos and Felicity, she has to convince him she's worthy of his trust and is essentially determined to get what she wants. So if you watch when the camera is following Felicity, it's very steady and deliberate. But when the camera is tracking behind Amos, we kept all of the handheld camera float to give that perception that Amos is not in control.
I can count on sweet, good, honest Amos. You have to tell me the truth. Oh, we're the bad guys. Look at you. You're like an auto-mechanical now.
Yep. Brand new arm, heat sensor, and they made me smarter. Look at this.
You would have become garbage.
That's amazing.
Originally in the script, in the end, Amos would be completely robotic and have tread wheels as feet, which would have looked crazy. And We did sketches of that, and that looked insane. I would have taken away so much of the performance, so we ended up scaling it way back. I knew the biggest challenge from the get-go would be creating the robotic version of Amos and his whole progression. So we just, we kept his face completely untouched, just let his body sort of disappear.
The sheer number of variations, for instance, Amos, as he transitions to an amputee, that was going to be a huge challenge, and just making sure that we could achieve that with the same character rig, that we could match Brennick's performance on set. That was a huge challenge for us.
It all needed to feel handcrafted. He needed to feel like he was broken, but also beautiful in a certain kind of horrific way.
I'm sorry, Amos. They're cutting back on the program. Besides which, you've barely any human parts left worth poking at.
Then, of course, Felicity was also very difficult. I knew I wanted her to stand out amongst the other orphans. So I had her overalls being sort of tied around her waist, so you could see her white shirt, so that the light would catch her in a certain way and feel a little bit more ethereal in Amos's eyes. And the next time Amos sees her, she is a scientist. And that look was very much based on late 1800s doctors with that outer world sci-fi touch to it. And then, of course, the Auntie Cleo version with a big hair, sort of motherly figure. But we also knew we wanted to push that to something darker and something more sinister. So we incorporated this circus director costume. We gave her pants instead of skirt. She was now in this sort of puppeted figure. So she was constrained by all these thick clothes, weird hairdo, and she actually doesn't have any power. It's always someone above her, right? And she's just this iconic figure that they placed in this position.
Amos.
Felicity?
One of my favorite characters that we created is Dr. Langdon. She's so terrifically weird and has all these gadgets and this leather apron that almost having these sort of butcher clothes by curiosity just slice people open. Love that character.
You're engaged in a noble effort, the perfecting of Auntie Cleo products. Your eyes are Auntie Cleo's eyes. Your lungs breathe her air. Even your thoughts are proprietary. So do not even think of deceiving your supervisors.
Oh, I won't. I can't lie.
Really?
Nutritious and tested. Sprats!
Drinking my ration.
I knew I wanted to work with long takes, everything centered around our main character Amos, and everything just happens around him. Carol Klowinski, my art director, created this 120 pages Bible for all the concept artists to use, how to do every little detail in this world. You have Argos. You can feel that everything was lost at some point, and it's become this garbage dump of the entire solar system. That's a really good juxtaposition to Amos's sort of bright outlook. It really contrasts him living in this really broken world. And when it comes to Numa, I wanted that to be this sort of sense of high society, science, wonder. So we created this auditorium where all the tests are conducted. And within that, it actually has multiple levels. We created a floor which could open up and reveal the pool. And below that pool, there's even a lower level where everything is exposed and it's wet and damp. The deeper you go, the more secretive and dark it becomes.
How many experiments until I can meet Felicity Carroll?
Just need one product to work.
I have to say one of the most challenging visual effects in this episode really had to be the water. I knew and recognized the challenge of creating realistic water simulations and just had to plan carefully to bring this vision to life. Even just that one shot of Amos diving into the pool as a slow-mo shot was a daunting task. So we entrusted the sequence of creating all of this impressive water sim to our talented effects team, led by Maxime Marlene, and then one of our most experienced artists, Martin Guido, really crushed, literally, this sequence. Another big challenge for us was going to be doing a lot of this work outsourced. We needed to maintain the quality, but we needed to find a good partner to work with, and we did so in the Monk studios in Thailand. The environment that I'm most happy with is Dr. Langdon's office. The designs were pretty complicated, even down to the Art Nouveau floor pattern, the variation of the materials, and just complexity in that room. It really looks stunning. I think Monk, that team, did a fantastic job for us. Their work was exceptional, and we really couldn't have done this without them.
I don't need luck. 3 more credits.
This was by far the biggest project in scale that I've worked on before. It was a huge challenge. Massive amounts of characters, massive amounts of environments, buildings, and art direction that needed to be done, and everything needed to be created. Fortunately, we had a really long pre-production phase where I worked together with my art director and fleshed everything out. It's been a long journey to get to the place we are now. I've seen it slowly develop over 2 years, but now it's finally ready. I'm super excited to show the world.
Ain't gonna be much longer, Auntie Cleo.
Let the Raptidon bite you until it loses interest.
We have this amazing technology of motion capture and scanning, and we can put our actors in any world. I believe the gaming community is already ready for that sort of narrative. It's up to us to start creating that for people to view outside of the gaming world.
You know what? Every time I see a new trailer come out or a new episode finished, I get emotional. I'm so proud of the studio. I'm so proud of the artists, all these, and I know how proud they are. You see a shot like in Outer Worlds of the tank sequence where they're swimming underwater, and you're just like, fucking A, that's beautiful. I was playing that at my desk the other day, and one of the producers at Blur, like, she got angry because I said, "You're angry because it's better than what Blur had done on it." And she's like, "Yes, they're cheating somehow. It's too good." That I love that kind of thing, and so those little moments make me feel great.
I have worked with several full animation features and hundreds of episodes of animated TV series, and I am used to art projects, that run for 18 months or even longer. However, this project was quite a different beast. We had a hyperreal approach, and that was a huge challenge. Everything we achieved, it was possible only because of the strong team and the dedication that the team carried throughout the project, through thick and thin.
Sweet, good, honest Amos. Sweet, good, honest Amos.
And now that we've actually put together 15 minutes, I believe that's a huge accomplishment. And I think that Goodbye Kansas hopefully will develop our own IP and our own narratives going forward.
Yeah, it says here the lead scientist is one doctor for this Takara.
I think the future for Goodbye Kansas is really bright. And I think that this type of project fits our wheelhouse perfectly.
This is a really heartfelt episode. I poured my heart and soul into it. I'm really excited for people to finally get to see it. I hope people will be entertained by the episode. At the same time, I really hope people take the message home. Don't let go of who you are.
Nose in that ship! They say it's the next Annie Cleo.
That's wonderful. I love Auntie Cleo.